So hello there everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be covering all the stuff that was released in the 3 streams. I've watched the 3 streams and made pretty much two sides of A4 worth of notes. I'm going to break this video down into 5 sections. And I'm going to start with interviews and contracts. And obviously, interviews are definitely coming back. Like I said, we pretty much knew that what was coming with the interviews would be coming back since the leaks on, was it GameSpot? I can't remember. There was the leaked stuff. If you've missed any of the 2018 videos since the launch, then you can find all those videos in the description below. There's a playlist with all the F1 2018 stuff, including this video as well, will be there. So go and check that out if you may have missed something revealed. But interviews and contracts will be the first section. There are 3 streams, by the way, that they did, and the links to all those streams are in the description below as well. But interviews and contracts, as I said, are the first thing I want to talk about. And first of all, there will be a new character to interview the player. So it's also going to be like a sit down sort of thing, but there's also going to be some time sensitive stuff, a bit like with the journey. You have to answer before in about half a minute. Otherwise you're going to it's basically time sensitive, giving you a limited time to make your decision, on which obviously there will be options like there were back in the day, 2010, them up to maximum of 4 options. Now apparently you can choose. They've set a particular style of character you want to be, whether you want to be a sportsman, like being modest about where you are. If you're driving for Sauber like me, you'll say we're going to be working our way up to the top. Or if you're going to be a showman, then you're going to be saying we're going to go out there and we're going to basically own the whole field, a bit like Lewis Hamilton saying he can win, and also McLaren saying that they would be fast as Red Bull this year. So a sportsman versus showman thing, and obviously hopefully they get the balance right, like they do with the fiery and cool thing in the journey in FIFA. But so yes, obviously what your questions will be asked. Some will just ask you about the race, but others questions will ask you about how happy you are at your team, Sauber, whatever, and also ask you which team would you like to drive for, because this will all feed back into R&D, into the career. Obviously, some teams will want, including your team as well, will want a certain type of character. Some people want a showman, other people want a sportsman. If you want to change the scenery, obviously, and obviously there's a motivation based on performance and the interview. So if you're performing well and your interview praising the team for their work and being modest, yes, we've done this well, now it's trying to get to the next step, then your team could be motivated. But if you're boasting, oh yes, we're easily going to win, but you're not performing on track and you're saying the car wasn't there today, then clearly the team isn't going to be motivated to create great R&D parts for you, not getting the things that you require. And also you can task your agent with talking to another team should you feel that motivation is lacking within the team. And you have a certain value they place of, like in FIFA they have a value for a player. Well, that's the same. The game will assign you a value based on your performance and so on. And basically, the more value you have means you can ask teams for better position, and you can also say you can also go to teams and say, listen, I want this is contract renegotiation. I want more R&D, a higher wage, number one driver status, and in return I'll deliver you these certain conditions. Now the team may say no, we don't feel you can do, in which case you might say, well, I'm not signing for you, and you can go and try and get somebody else. Or they might say yes. So that's really up to the team, depending on your performance. A lot of this is going to be performance and interviews based, and you can choose your rival as well. But be careful, that also feeds back you're not beating your rival. So yes, that's something to think about for interviews and contracts. It's definitely going to be a big thing. That's with your performance on track and your performance in the interviews are going to link to the contracts, and where or not you get the resources and also the money and position you want. Right, second thing I want to talk about is the gameplay as well. Obviously, the halo is present on all the cars. However, if you're in cockpit mode, there is the option to remove the center pillar for visibility. So they've implemented that, which is a good thing, but you still got this big, huge bar around the top. So it's just the central pillar, it's not actually the whole thing. So hopefully somebody can mod the thing and get rid of it, because it is an eyesore, basically. Now, so that's one thing. They've also introduced the carver's temperature of the tyres. So there's these. They've got the exterior tyre temperature and also the tyre temperatures inside the tyre. So it actually helps more with tyre wear. So if your tyre temperatures are getting too hot or too cold, then that's going to decrease tyre tear, but obviously getting both of them both right. So there's this extra thing to worry about, which I don't know if it's good or bad. We'll have to wait and see how much it affects tyre wear. I'm only going to be able to know that when we get to play the game. They have introduced something that I do like. On the display, you get a pie chart to tell you how much. A pie chart thing to tell you how much tyre wear. So you can. It's a nice thing if you're too little busy overtaking. You just want to have a quick look at the thing. Then you can see obviously how far your tyres are until you have to think about making that pit stop. So again, another little trick there. There's apparently small improvements to the graphics as well. Fog and distance, which goes with the Unreal Engine, which likes to put fog in the distance of its gameplay. Heat haze as well, and if you're on the dirty side of the grid when you start off, apparently that dirt will also kick up, depending on what circuit you're on, obviously. There's also a new suspension model as well, for going over the bumps. So again, we'll have to wait and see until playing the game to see if that makes any major difference to the gameplay. Apparently there's improvement work on the AI, and apparently they'll try and be very defensive into the corners, but the AI need to make they need to make more mistakes. I think they were too computerized, and not locking up enough, and they're not being human enough, basically, for me in previous year. As you go through the career, tutorials will pop up or trigger at various points. I still think though they're missing out on not having a young driver test, but apparently they will play tutorials throughout when they're needed throughout the career mode and so on. And the final thing about gameplay is ERS management. There's 5 different modes, obviously auto mode as well, and there's low, medium, high and overtake. So you could pick, it's really up to you but obviously there's a blue bar down the bottom that tells you how much what you're working on, which you'll see some gameplay on screen at the moment. How this is going on. Really, the OS management, it's something that hasn't been required by the game, as I mentioned in an earlier video, that things were missing, but ultimately it's good to have this extra little thing in the game, something to increase the gameplay. And if you're obviously thinking about conserving, obviously hopefully we don't get as many boring races. It is supposed to be a game. If you remember back to my United States Grand Prix in Season 1, that was pretty much a boring game, so much that I tried to race Bernie Ecclestone in his aeroplane. And there was one thing to note, that the game did actually crash during the Square Enix stream, so that was a bit embarrassing for them, but again, it's an early version, so hopefully it doesn't crash while we're actually playing it. That they're playing on PS4 as well, so hopefully for everybody else, when it does come out in August, there aren't these problems, and hopefully the game is actually meaning that they don't have to bring out so many updates, because last year the game was so tragic when it came out. And then it's subsequently improved. They had to fix a lot of things. Hopefully there aren't problems. There probably will be, knowing Codemasters. Now, the classic cars is something else I want to talk to you. Despite what I said in the previous video, all 12 classic cars, including the McLaren 1988 McLaren MP4-4 from 2017, are in F1 2018. So that's interesting. Post E3 will introduce new ones. That might be next weekend at the French Grand Prix. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. But definitely there's new ones coming post E3. That's what they've said. So in the upcoming months, we're still waiting for a trailer to come out. Never mind the list of classic cars. So yes, that's all we know about classic cars at the moment. Online and multiplayer. Now, obviously, esports is a big focus for them, so they've tried to set that up to make sure that fix the thing. But also, they've introduced a couple of things. There's a super license now, so which apparently analyzes your performance, etiquette, and skill. How you drive online will affect your level, and they will then have some ranked lobbies which will match you against players who have a particular skill based on their super license. And various players can also vote for the track now and the style of gameplay, so that's good. I'm not too sure what style of gameplay means, whether it's just a 5-lap race or 3-lap race or reverse grids or whatever. That would be quite cool to see reverse grids being voted for or stuff like that. And the final thing I want to mention is something big. R&D. Now, obviously, we introduced the tree. The tree isn't really going to change that much. Obviously, there'll be the introduction of the ERS stuff in there, so that will have a separate branch in the tree. But other than that, the tree isn't really going to change that much. But one thing that is going to change, rule changes. So from one season to another, one section of that particular tree, whether it's aerodynamics, chassis, engine, might change from season to season, and there's a might, because they want to make sure that everybody has a different experience, because in 2017 everybody all had the same experience, unless you were the team that you drove for that graded massively, then you were pretty much it was the order from the standoff. In my career right now, not pretty much Renault are the only team that made any advancements, which they didn't, and then they're now starting to stagger off. Really, obviously Williams have dropped its wit in my career, but there's not too many changes, and that midfield is tight. We want to see maybe a rule change, and suddenly Williams are the fastest team, and Mercedes are slow. Obviously, depends on the engines. Now, one thing that won't change is people changing engines. Because of the licensing. But yes, and there's also the R&D will have, as I said, will be impacted on the contract. But also, if you feel that you can ask for a team that at the end of the season, you can ask your agent if there's a particular team that if these rule changes are going to happen, there's a particular team you can say, look, my team is going to be slower next season. Can you get me a contract with this team? I think they're going to be faster. So that's something to think about. Hopefully this delivers and it's not as bad as in 2017, which was a bit stalemate. But I'm going to leave it there. That's a lot to digest. Let me know what you think in the comments below about all of this. Obviously, you can go and watch the streams below for yourself. All the links are in the description below, should you wish to go and see them. But, as I said, let me know in the comments below what you think. For me, personally, I think the game is going to be an improvement on 2017. But we're still but depending on how certain things perform well, will depend on how good we are to getting the ultimate F1 game out of Codemasters. But I'm going to leave it there. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new to see more F1 2018 game news. Obviously, classic cars are coming very soon, and as soon as I get a chance to make that video on the list of classic cars, I will do. But yes, thank you so much for watching, and until the next video, I'll see you next time. Take care, enjoy the rest of the day, and goodbye.